Good afternoon, everybody. Um, this afternoon, I'm going to continue with the lesson last week on the comparison of DNA and RNA. Before we begin the lesson, I would like to make an announcement. So you can see here on my PowerPoint. So the first announcement is, please send your answers to our group chats to earn points for listening. So if you got the point for listening, that one will be considered. Okay, you don't have to do any listening in the class when I give the exam. And then send as much answer as you can. And then I will be reviewing your answers once I'm offline. So when this video is done, I will open it again and then check your answers to the lesson today. If you give me the correct answer, automatically you will get the points. I am not sure if I will see you next week or not. If you will still do the online class with me, I really cannot tell. But as soon as we come face to face again, I'm going to show you the record of the points that you earned for this online class. Okay? That is the first announcement. And then the second announcement, since we did not do so much work in class aside from the one that was done on your notebook, which I already checked and still with me, I would like you to draw a simple illustration of a DNA molecule. DNA molecule only. Now, I want you to identify the parts, okay, and write a description, just a brief description of the DNA molecule. Now, you're going to submit this work to me when we see each other again face to face. I do not know that one will be next week or after next week. I still do not get any confirmation from the school. So you have to do this work on a hard white A4 paper, color your work, and decorate. Okay? Now this work will give you the point for writing. Okay? So this work will give you the point for writing. Now before you have your final exam at the end of this academic year, I will give you one test only, just one test. Okay? Now, you can send some questions on the chat if you wish. Okay, let us move on to the lesson. All right. So this was the lesson last week. And I think I've already given the answer for numbers 1, 2, and 3. So let us review again number 1. What is the meaning of RNA? Okay, I will look for the answer on the chat. What is the meaning of RNA? Anybody? Hello to everybody who is currently online. Okay, what is the meaning of RNA? Okay, I will start giving the points. These questions were taken from the video that you watched last week. RNA. Question number 1. RNA stands for, okay. Anybody?
Yes.
Okay, I've got the correct answer from Humipat. Room 4, number 5, correct. Room 4, number 44, correct. Room 1, number 6, correct. Nichata, correct. Salintip, correct. Heart, correct. Pirawit, no answer. Natapin, correct. Room 3, number 15, correct. Tanatik, correct. Room 1, number 11, no, it is not correct. Room 4, number 4, correct. Okay, so room 2, number 19, correct. All right, so I've got several correct answers here. So the answer for the first question is Miss Hannah, yes, I need to change the color of the ink. It's red. I need white. How do I change the color? White. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I have here ribonucleic acid. Okay, this is C. Next, number 2. Okay, try answering as much as I can, because even if I do not do the shout out now, I'm going to run this video again to give points to the students who gave the correct answer. Question number 2. DNA has blank strands and RNA has blank strands. Okay, you just give me the number. Okay, let me see. Okay. Strong, correct. Please, if you have your name in type, please do not forget the room number and class number. Room 4, number 29, correct. Room 4, number 44, correct. Room 4, number 12, correct. Curse, correct. Let me see. Okay. Okay, I see all correct answers from the students who sent their answers on the chat. So DNA has, we write here 2, and RNA has 1. Okay, so those students who gave this answer, you are correct. Next one, a nucleotide is made of blank, blank, and blank. Okay, for this question, I'm going to give 3 points. Okay, we discussed this last week. What is a nucleotide made of? Okay, I will give the first letter of the word. We have B, okay, we have S, and we have P. Okay, what are the parts of a nucleotide? Okay, let me see for the answers. Okay, room 1, number 11, correct. Your answer is correct. I got only 1 correct answer. Over, correct. Not a pin, correct. Kanyarat, correct. Not correct. Flash, correct. Let me check again. All right, correct. Room 1, number 29, correct. Room 6, number 31, correct. Room 3, number 6, correct. All right. So the succeeding answers for all of you are correct. So we have here, if you wrote in your answer nitrogenous base, that is correct, but I would just like to make it short as base. I have sugar, and I have phosphate. So we have the phosphate molecule, okay? So when I review this video, you're going to get 3 points for everybody who gave these correct answers. Okay, let us move on. Question number 3. The sugar of DNA is called, okay, there are more answers coming in. Okay, correct. Students who are sending late answers, they are all correct. The last one is Tanapon. Room 1, number 21, correct. Okay, the sugar of DNA is called D, and that of RNA is R. Okay, who can give me the answer? What do we call the sugar of DNA? Okay, let me check the answers on the chat. Tanapon, sugar, phosphate, nitrogen. Okay, these are the correct answers from the previous question. What do we call the sugar of DNA? I gave you the first letter already, it's a D, and RNA is R. Anyone? Let me see the answers. Room 1, number 29, correct, but you gave me only one answer. I need two answers. Room 3, number 38 also. Students, I'm asking for two. If you give me only the first one that begins in letter D, you get only 1 point. Like room 7, number 38, you gave me only one. There's supposed to be two. Students, again, I repeat, there are two answers. I can see the correct one. There are two. No, the second one is that ribonucleic acid. Let me see. Okay, the last answers are all correct. Okay, so let us write the answer now. The sugar of DNA is called okay, this is the correct answer. The sugar of DNA is called deoxyribose, and that of RNA is ribose. Okay? So if you give me only this one, 1 point. If you give me these two, you get 2 points. Okay, next one. Last week, we differentiated DNA from RNA, and we said that there is one base in DNA that is replaced by another base in RNA. What is the base that replaces thymine in RNA? Okay, students, the beginning of the letter is U. Okay, anybody? What is the answer? Letter U. Okay, room 1, number 11. I'm not sure. Yes, correct. Anantapong, correct. Anusia, correct. Salintip, correct. Okay, all the succeeding answers are correct. So we have the base uracil. Okay, this is the base that replaces thymine in RNA. Right. Okay, students, there are 3 types of RNA. There's only one type of DNA, but there are 3 types of RNA. Can you give me the 3 types? Now, for this question, I'm going to give 3 points. Okay, 3 points. What are the 3 types of RNA? Anyone? Okay, let me check. 1, 2, 3. Trongkap, correct. Siri, no answer. Over, correct. Room 1, number 6, correct. M, room 1, number 29, correct. Room 4, number 25, correct? Okay. And all the succeeding answers are correct. So here, the first type is mRNA. The second one is tRNA. And the last one is, okay, let me check the answers. Okay, the last one is rRNA. Okay, so these are the 3 types of RNA, or ribonucleic acid. Okay, next question. These questions are all from the video that you watched last week. I will give you a hint for this one. It says here, RNA that speeds up chemical reactions is called. Now, for the STEM class and rooms 2, 3, and 4, in your chemistry, when we say there are substances that speeds up the chemical reaction, we call them E. This is the first letter of that word. It begins with an E. Any substance that speeds up the reaction are called what? This one is a biological E. So what is the word that we use for any substance, whether it is chemical or biological, that speeds up the rate of reaction? It begins with the letter E. Okay, anybody? Trong, you got it correct. Very good. Natia Pon, correct. Pon, correct. Pirawit, correct. Najun, correct. Kawina, correct. Room 1, number 11, correct. Room 6, number 31, correct. Room 4, number 29, correct. Okay, all of the students who gave this answer are correct. So we have the term enzyme. So RNA is what we call biological enzyme. Okay? Because RNA is a biological polymer, right? Now, let's look now at the structure of RNA and DNA. After this one, you're going to fill up a table on the differences between RNA and DNA. Let's look at the first structure. RNA, DNA. DNA has 2 strands. RNA has 1. Okay? Now, what else? It has a base pair. Okay, do you remember the base pairing? The base pairing, if I say I have adenine. Oh, God. If I have adenine, adenine pairs with thymine, and cytosine pairs with guanine. Okay? So here, if we have a base pair here in RNA, I have a single nucleobase. Pair means 2. Single means 1. Okay? So we say here that this one is double-stranded. Now, what is the shape of the DNA molecule from our lesson last week? 1 point. Who can give me the shape? What is the shape of the DNA molecule? Anybody? What is the shape? There are 2 words for this. The first word begins with D. This is the first word. And the second word begins with an H. That is the shape of the DNA molecule. Anybody? I will give 2 points for this question. Najun, very good. Room 3, number 55, you got it correct. You get 2 points. Anybody else? Over, correct. Trong, correct. Pon, correct. Natia Pon, correct. Who else? Room 1, number 11, correct. Okay. The succeeding answers are all correct. So if your answer is this one, This is your answer. You are correct. Okay. Next difference. In DNA, our sugar is called deoxyribose. Okay. So take note also that DNA has two strands. While here, our sugar is called ribose. All right? Okay. Now, I'm going to move on now to the next slide. So, what are the differences between DNA and RNA? I've discussed it already. You can send your answers by chat. You can give me only one answer per student. The last student who answered the question is room 7, number 9. Okay. Room 1, number 11. You can. Okay. This is. I don't know. This is a boy or. Are you a boy or a girl? Room 1, number 11. Okay. He or she said that DNA has. Okay. Let's look at the first one. DNA has 2 strands. Okay, so that is the first one. This one has 1 strand. So that is the first difference, the number of strands. So this one is number of strands. Who can give me the second difference? Selling tip. Okay, correct. Okay, you cannot give the same answer anymore. We're going to move on. Base group, Mr. Butter, no. Okay, Salintip, correct. Salintip mentioned that sugar in DNA is called deoxyribose and in RNA is called ribose. Okay, so here the second difference is the sugar. So here for DNA, our sugar is deoxyribose. Okay, and here the sugar is called ribose. Right. Who can give me another difference, the third one? DNA have a base pair, not RNA have a single nucleobase. Very good. Who gave this answer? Anusha, room 4, number 44. Okay. So she said here, for the third difference, we're talking about the bases. So this one has a base pair. Okay. And here, it has no base pair. Okay, so we say number 3. We have a single nucleobase. Right. Okay, who can give me another one? So we are now on number 4. Anyone? Let me check. DNA can leave the nucleus, but RNA can leave. Yes, you are correct. Who gave this answer? Han, room 7, number 38. Pan. Okay, okay. So this one, we're talking here about the, okay, we can say it's the function. So DNA, according to, is that boy or girl, Miss?
Boy.
Boy? Okay, Pan.
Leader of mine.
Okay.
Room 7.
So this one stays in the nucleus. Okay? During cell division, whereas RNA Okay, number 4, leaves the nucleus. Why does it leave the nucleus? Because, okay, we have here, the one that leaves the nucleus is your mRNA, and it has something to do with protein synthesis. So it will get involved in the process of making proteins. Okay, we have protein synthesis. Who can give me another difference? Han. Okay, here is another one. I don't know your name. You are belong to room 1, number 29. Very good. So he said here, he or she, I do not know you're a boy or a girl. Number 5, DNA can be found in every organism. But you cannot find it in viruses. So this one is found in viruses. So just like the coronavirus doesn't have a DNA, it has an RNA. Okay, let me check if there are other answers. Okay, DNA is more stable than RNA, correct? Okay, who is this one? Room 1, number 36. Are you boy or girl? Okay, room 1, number 36. This student, he mentioned about the bases present, just like this one, like number 3. He said in DNA, the bases are adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Whereas in, okay, RNA, you have adenine, uracil, cytosine, and guanine. There is no thymine. Very good. Okay, the students earn a lot of points already. Pond. Okay, Pond said DNA is vulnerable to damage by UV, but RNA is more resistant to damage from UV than DNA. Okay, correct. So that is all we've got for this table. Okay, so I hope you can remember this one when we see each other face to face. Right. Now, let me check, do I have enough time? 20 minutes. It is 20 minutes? Okay. Now, let us go now to the next topic, which is mutation. Now, we said, if organisms do not behave normally, or their phenotypes look different from the normal species, it means something has gone wrong with their DNA. And that is the time where mutation will come in. So let's look now at the meaning of mutation. Mutation is a permanent change in the sequence of nucleotides in the DNA of an organism. So this topic, I did not discuss to you in detail because it will be taken up in biology. Like, for example, the first sequence, for example, is A, T. And after the sequence C, G, G, C, or T, A. Now, this particular sequence, it can code for a particular characteristic in an organism. Okay, example only. Let's say this code, okay, let's say this arrangement, it codes, for example, eye color. For example only, this is not really the code for eye color. For example, brown. Now, if, for example, cytosine, was replaced by methionine, the eye color brown, the phenotype will not appear in the organism. Okay? Because once the protein is synthesized, it will assume a shape that is not conforming with the eye color brown. Okay? So the moment one code is changed or one base is changed, it will come out to a different type of characteristic or phenotype or behavior in a particular organism. Next, number 2, that the change can affect one or more genes. If you remember in our lesson before the school closed, we said that we have genes for height, skin color, eye color, IQ, and so on. And when you say genes, there are different forms of that genes. Let's say, for example, the example that you can clearly remember for genes are what we call the alleles. So if you're talking about eye color, this is the gene for eye color. We have several alleles for this. It can be brown, it can be green, it can be blue. Okay, there's no red, there's no allele for blue, green, sorry, not this one. Blue, green, brown. Okay. So the moment changes takes place in the base pairings or in the nucleotide, it affects your genes, resulting in the change in the characteristic of the organism. Characteristic can refer to the behavior or the phenotype of that particular organism. Next one. What causes mutation? Number 1, ultraviolet radiation, or what we call ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation. Okay. These are the type of radiation that can kill the cell and also damage your DNA. Next one, chemicals in the environment. What are these chemicals in the environment? I'm going to give you one example. I have a neighbor, and that neighbor of mine, she started doing what we call the fertilizer business. So she sells fertilizer. Now, her storage area is a 3-floor building. Her office is downstairs, and the 2nd and 3rd floor of that building, there is nothing there but bags of fertilizer. So her business was doing good, and like 2 years later, she felt that there was something wrong in her lungs. She had a problem breathing. So she had herself examined, and according to the analysis of the doctor, she developed lung cancer. So take note that any kind of exposure to chemicals, it can mutate your cells, it can mutate your DNA, resulting in what we call abnormality. And one of these abnormality are the diseases caused by the chemicals. So another one is smoking. People who smoke a lot for long periods of time, normally they develop cancer. Okay? So that is exposure to chemicals. And the last one is, it can also occur during the process of DNA replication. Last week, we said that during cell division, the double-stranded DNA molecule will break. And take note, we said that these 2 strands are connected to each other by what we call weak hydrogen bonds. Weak hydrogen bonds, it has to be because during cell division, it's easier for them to break and separate into 2 strands, single strands, we call it mRNA. Okay, so these are the causes of mutation. Now, Miss Hannah,
Yes.
I'm going to show you a video. Now, my disclaimer is this video is not owned by me or by the institution that I represent, meaning Assumption College Sunbury. It's owned by YouTube. In English, we call this one, students, for your information, we call it disclaimer. Disclaimer means you don't own it. The school Assumption doesn't own it, but we are using this video for educational purposes only, so you will learn something out of it.
If you want to open,
Yeah.
doesn't have the internet. You need to share the internet to that because it's